Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by DKI Canada. Across the street, across the country. This Oshawa native played 18 NHL seasons, and he coached for 18 more. And I believe he's only 45. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Our guest today hails from Oshawa, Ontario. He was a 6', 200-pound right winger. He starred with the hometown Generals for 3 years. He represented Team Canada at the World Championships on 2 occasions. He was drafted in the first round by the New Jersey Devils. He played 18 NHL seasons with the Devils, Sharks, Rangers, and Stars. He was a 2-time All-Star, 3 straight 40-plus goal seasons. 413 goals, 419 assists, and 1,129 NHL games. 18 seasons as an NHL coach, an assistant with the Devils, Hurricanes, Coyotes, Sharks, and Islanders, and a head coach with the Devils, a Stanley Cup champion as a player and a coach. Welcome to the program, John MacLean. Good to have you on here.
Oh, thanks. Nice introduction.
We do our best, John. We do our best to forget some of that stuff. Yeah, I did that. That's right. I did that. Yes, I did. Yeah. So born and raised in Oshawa, we were talking about it a little bit off the air. I've spent a lot of time in Oshawa as well. And certainly a hockey hotbed. Was the plan always going to be John MacLean's going to be a hockey player?
Well, but maybe in my mind, yeah, but I'm not sure anybody else's mind thought that when I was young. But, you know, it was funny. We had like some great players come out of Oshawa, of course. Dale Howardchuk was a year ahead of me in minor hockey. So, you know, you kind of watched that team. They had a great hockey team growing up, especially with Dale there. And, you know, they went on, you know, they won everything they could until they were 14. Our team, on the other hand, we won 1 year, and then every other year was just a battle to go. So you never knew. I was never the biggest guy on the team growing up, but you know, when I hit my stride, I guess it was when I got cut from the midget team. I got cut from the major midget team, and I had to go back and play minor midget. It was probably, you know, the time you're disappointed, but, you know, I wasn't big enough, maybe strong enough at that time. And then it just kind of bounced from there. And then I, you know, leapfrogged into going right to junior B the following year. I skipped over the major midget year, went to junior B. And then, you know, everything just seemed to fall into place. And as everybody, you're a centerman growing up. And then once you get a little older, they put you on a lot of times, you know, if they feel you're a better winger. And that's kind of where I went. I went to the wing and started to, you know, understand. And, you know, my scoring went up from there.
So the guy who cuts John MacLean from the major midget team, it's not quite like cutting Michael Jordan from the high school basketball team, but it is significant. I'm sure you had.
I will tell you. Well, no, and a good guy. He was a police officer in Durham region. You know, funny, not funny. My dad passed away this December, and actually he showed up to the wedding, to the funeral, and he's like, "Oh my God!" He goes, "Your dad was a great man." He goes, "But every time I saw him, he reminded me that I got you." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, sorry." Yeah. He didn't, you know, he felt otherwise. So, but, you know what, it was, hey, it worked out great for me. And you know what, I think everybody goes through that at some point. You know, there's got to be a little adversity in your career, and nothing's ever easy. And I think it helped me as far as, like, you're never sure that you make it. And, you know, you just kind of every year there's like somebody coming, or you always gotta have that, you know, pit in your stomach that you gotta keep proving yourself year after year. And I think that helped me.
Yeah, a little bit of a chip on your shoulder never hurts, right?
Yeah.
But so tell me, I'm sorry about your dad's passing. I didn't realize it happened last December. Who are the most instrumental people in your career, in your life?
Well, I would say definitely my dad early on. it was him for sure. He coached me 1 year. 9-year-old. He coached me at 9-year-old. Had the team. Then didn't coach me. He had he said everybody else just went on. So he coached me that 1 year. But he was always coaching, and my brother is 8 years older, so he was coaching him. He would coach teams. I would go out, follow, and kind of follow my brother around, watch him. And there was a big enough age difference. There's never really any competition, so it was always like I watched a lot of hockey growing up, a lot at the rink, a lot watching and participating, maybe going out and skate with the older guys every once in a while. So you just kind of learn. I'm a better visual learner than I am, book learner, if you will, or technical learner. If I can see it, I can do it type deal. So I thought that helped me a lot. And so you just kind of move through your career that way. And then as it goes, the year I got cut, I had two great coaches, older guys that, played a bit of hockey, understood the game, and they kind of kept pushing me just to be who I was, kind of thing, that whole year. And I kind of took off from there. And then as far as junior goes, I think I was very fortunate. I had Paul Theriault as my coach in Oshawa, and rookie year you'd kind of get through it, and then the next year kind of popped. So and I credit a lot to having Paul and Sherry Bass and that the Oshawa organization. Really, I'm a big believer in the Generals. I think they do a great job. They're first class. That was when Mr. Humphreys owned it. So those are the stepping stones. And then, as you go through your career, it's always something, right? I say we come in early, you have guys, older players that are helping you. And then for me, for my NHL career, Jimmy Schoenfeld came in at the I don't even know how it happened, but he came in at the right time for me. And Jimmy showed, a lot of faith in me and gave me an opportunity to, blossom. And I credit him with, it was a big turning point in my NHL career.
Well, you played all your minor hockey close to home in Oshawa. Was it Sherry and the Generals drafted you? And that's how you ended up with the Generals?
They drafted me. Funny enough, the first round pick's name was Dave MacLean. He played out of Brantford. And then I knew I was going in the second round. I just didn't know where. I had conversations with some different teams. I could have ended up at Peterborough, which would have been, that would have been difficult. Oshawa doesn't like the Peterborough Petes. So, right. But I would have went. They had a good team. They always have good teams. Peterborough's a great sports town. So, Peterborough was the next pick. So they picked Dave Reed, which good pick there too. Dave went on to have a nice career in the NHL as well. So it was, but I knew Oshawa said if I was there in the second round that they were definitely taking me, and that's where it ended up. So I was thankful, different strokes for different, kids. It's like staying at home probably is a good thing. Had no problem playing there, kind of, unassuming and just kind of go and play there. There was never a lot of pressure. And the good thing about Oshawa at that point, we had 6 guys from Oshawa on the team. Dale DeGray, Peter Sidorkowicz, Danny Nicholson. We had all these guys that played minor hockey there that were playing for the Oshawa Generals. So it just made it a lot easier for all of us.
Well, you had some great seasons in Oshawa, 82-83. 47 goals, 51 assists in 66 games. You mentioned Paul Theriault. Who else contributed to helping mold you into that kind of a scoring threat?
Well, that was a great year. But really the first part of the year, I couldn't even get on the ice because we had Dave Anderchuk and Tony Tanti on the team. I couldn't even. Anderchuk's a right shot. Tony Tanti playing his off wing on the right side. I couldn't even get on the power play early in the year. Thank goodness they both got called up. It was one of those years that I'm like, okay, I might not even be on the third line here. But it happened that, Dave and Tony both got called to the NHL, which was great. And then it gave me an opportunity. And you know how lines are. And I have, I had two great line mates that were David Gans was my centerman, and Mike Stern was my left winger. So, Gansey had tremendous talent with the puck. He could dish, he pass, and he always an offensive player. And Stearnsy had great hands and probably one of the most feared guys in the OHL at the time. So if Gansey or I ever got into any trouble that we may not be able to handle, we always knew Stearnsy was going to be there to help us. So, just watching, as I said, watching these guys score and then getting the opportunity. And I think the real thing that Paul brought out of us is, he was kind of one of those guys that was before his time, and but he believed in repetition. We used to practice our power play every day. It was just simple. He put 4 tires on the ice, and we just make every pass that we possibly could, what play we're going to run. And then when the game started, it was like, okay, whatever's there, we take, and we know where to put it, when the situation called for it. And then it became our power play as far as how we did. And to have, we were fortunate that we had a great quarterback on the back end, Joey Sorella. Got sent back from the NHL, and Joey's, he's running the power play from the back end. And so we had all these pieces of the team there. And then, we had Dale DeGray on it. And so we had these, great pieces, and we were able to just put it all together. So it was a special year that year in 82, 83 with the Generals.
Oh, for sure. And you guys made that incredible playoff run. Your playoff numbers that year, 18 goals, 37 points in 17 games. Of course, Generals go all the way to the Memorial Cup final, and you made the final. Of course, lost to Mike Vernon and Portland Winterhawks, but you had an incredible tournament. Look at this goal right here, scored on the power play. You talked about the power play. What a tournament you had, though, for the Generals.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was, I think this one, I actually like this one. I'm scoring against Patty Roy there.
Is that who it is?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's a Quebec. That's against Quebec.
That's a Quebec team. Yeah, actually, maybe that's Quebec not. Yeah, that's against Quebec. Yeah. No, we had, it was.
Here we go.
It was
here's
good.
The power play.
Yeah, there we go.
There
we go against Portland.
Right,
yeah, exactly.
I knew we had that goal.
We did have a great run, and then Portland was the home team. Again, they get the opportunity to, be the home team. Host team always gets in. Yeah, pick it up there. Vernie, stand-up goalie there, great goalie. But, we went through the whole tournament, and then we get to the finals, and we're playing. It ended up, and we had a pretty veteran team that, guys maybe enjoyed themselves. We took advantage of all the situations type deal. Some guys,
right.
We played at 11 o'clock that morning for the because of the TV time
change.
Out. I've never seen, like, the building in Portland there was just rocking. They were screaming and yelling and going. They came out flying. They looked like 10 times faster than we were, and they were just all over us early on. And they, Cam Neely, he got a hat trick that game. I think they beat us 10-4. It wasn't even it wasn't even a game after a while, but, and Vernie played well. Vernie was the add-on that you were allowed to add on a goalie. Or a player. A goalie. Back then you were allowed to add a goalie. So they added Mike Vernon, who, Hall of Fame goalie, added him. We added Alan Bester, but no, he wasn't better than Peter Sidorkiewicz, so it was just more for safety than anything. So
backup.
It's just one of those things. They had a great team though. They had a lot of great players. Kenny Yaremchuk was one of their guys. Crom, Brian. With baby steps, Kern, Robbie. They had a lot of NHLers on their team, and Cam Neely, of course, was there and played great. So I think Alfie Turcotte was on that team as well. So they had a lot of great players as well, and it didn't match up that day, but I still think we probably had the better team. But it's the only one that I can vividly recall because it's the one I didn't win. I'm like, I would have loved to say that I was a Memorial Cup champion, OHL champion, Memorial, and Stanley Cup, so the Memorial Cup kind of got away from me, but you never know. It may get it at some point, but it was disappointing that we weren't able to bring it back. But the city of Oshawa was behind us the whole way, and it was great. And Mr. Humphreys couldn't have been more generous with Bass helping and Paul. We got back. They sent us to Florida for a week as a team as a thank you, which was nice. So our last little group together, we got to go to Florida, which worked out well. And he was just Mr. Humphreys was just a great man. He was a great family man, and he really supported that team. And Oshawa was lucky to have Mr. Humphreys as an owner there.
Oh yeah, they had a great run. I mean, a great franchise, just a world class franchise. Yeah. One of the top junior franchises on the planet for sure. Right up there with London.
Yes.
You played at the World Juniors as well that season. 7 goals in 7 games. What do you remember about that tournament?
Well, I remember that I got sent back from New Jersey to go play in that tournament. I was up as an 18-year-old. I was struggling. I don't think I scored in 21 games, and coach got fired. Poor Billy McMillan got fired. Tommy McVie comes in, and when the coach gets fired, I know that now, but you never understand it when you're going through it. Tommy comes in. Tommy's like, I'm winning. I don't care. I got to turn this something around. I got to change something. So, sorry, kid. I don't care if you're first round pick or not. It's best for you to go back. And so they sent me back to there. We had Brian Kilray was the coach. Brian Kilray, Terry Simpson. I can't say it was the most. Not sure it was one of the best teams ever to go to the World Juniors, because we didn't fare that well. But we had some players that year. Mario Lemieux didn't come. Kirk came. Kirk Muller came. Kirk came. Mario didn't come. He would have been helpful for whatever reason. Mario didn't come that year. But we had some guys. Russ Courtnall. We had some different. Russ was in Toronto at this similar situation to me. So we had some players there. But I don't think we had enough talent there to do any damage during the tournament. I think we ended up 4th or 5th. So it was a little disappointing, but those other teams were, pretty talented as well. Like the Russians were talented. The Czechs had a good team that year. So, but it's always a great experience anytime you can play for the country.
Well, you mentioned you got drafted by the Devils, 6th overall. Were you a little concerned because back in the day, the Devils weren't really, like a really well thought of franchise. Let's put it that way.
You know what? Back in the day, you were just happy to get to the NHL. Everybody, there was no picking and choosing of where you were going to go. So, I coming off that run that I had in the playoffs the previous year with Oshawa, my stock rose a little bit, and I trust me, they could have drafted me in the 7th round. Like, I might have been a 7th round pick the year before had my birthday not been in November. But my birthday was in November, so I couldn't be drafted that year. So, I get the next year. So you're really not picking and choosing. I met with, a bunch of the teams. I met with Toronto, Winnipeg. I think Toronto was 7 that year. Winnipeg was 8. Met with the teams before. Met with Buffalo. Met with Detroit. I think everybody kind of, got it right with their draft picks. As far as how it went, you kind of knew Brian Lawton, Minnesota was going to take Brian Lawton, whether it worked out perfectly for them or not, but high school hockey was big in the Twin Cities there. So you kind of knew they're going that way. Although he didn't play high school hockey in Minnesota, he played in Massachusetts, but that's kind of, you saw how it was going. Sylvain Turgeon was a great player. Patty LaFontaine was phenomenal player. And then you get some guy named Steve Yzerman 4, it's like, I got 3 Hall of Famers ahead that go 3, 4, 5, right? 3 Hall of Famers. You get, Patty Yzerman and Tommy Barrasso goes 5th. So, I mean, I kind of knew New Jersey said they were going to take me. Toronto said they would take me, and Winnipeg said they would take me. So, Jersey had that crack at 6 and took me. So I was ecstatic. Billy McMillan was was there. Talked to him a lot. Max McNabb, great man. So he, you knew though that they were trying to build something. The year before they had, Patty Verbeek was in the organization, Bruce Driver, Joey Sorella. So I kind of had a little familiarity there with Joey. So when you go, that helps to a camp. You go and you have a lot of help. So I just knew that with, the direction that they were going, you were going to get an opportunity to play. And that's all you wanted. So I got the opportunity. I played up until Christmas the first year, and then the next year you come back, and then they draft, Kirk, second overall, another guy I had familiarity with from the World Juniors. So we became friends, and we had this group of young talent that came into the league. And we were very fortunate that, really our team was 24, half 24 and under, and the other half was 30 and over. But the 30 and older guys couldn't have been better role models or better coaches than we could ask for. They just kind of took us under their wing, and we all, showed us how to be pros, helped us along, wanted us to succeed. Not worried about us succeeding and taking their job. They wanted to see our improvement, and which was great for us. And guys that were leaders. Donnie Lever was a captain. Mel Bridgman, Phil Russell, Rich Preston, Timmy Higgins. You go on and on down the list. Dave Lewis, guys that have made careers after the fact as well. But they were just tremendous to us young guys at that time.
Yeah, and the improvement would come, and that's what we're going to talk about very soon here. So for you though, you had a deadly combination, speed and skill, as evidenced by this goal against the Habs. You're going to race in on the wing, and a nasty move right here. That's the one we saw earlier.
That's the one we saw earlier. Yeah, there we go.
That's the one we saw earlier.
Yeah.
So, what a 400!
I gotta get that. I gotta get that clip and send it to Patty.
Yeah,
he'll be like, "What are you doing, Patty?"
yeah.
The Blazing. You know what? It's funny watching it. You're very kind to say blazing speed. I would never accuse myself of having blazing speed. I had a good change of speed, slow, a little bit slower, maybe. So
off speed.
Off speed. I would consider myself more of an off speed guy, but I did enjoy. Scoring. It was always great, and it was like, you saw my numbers. I laughed. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, wow, you must have made some plays too." I go, "No, they were actually rebound assists." Because I was trying to score off, it hit the goalie's pad and went to the other guy. Okay, for the majority of them, because it drives me crazy even today that I'm like, guys, you have to shoot the puck at some point. I never had trouble shooting the puck. I'm like, everybody's like, they go into these numbers. I'm like, well, it's possession. I'm like, yeah, it's possession. But what happens when you shoot the puck and you get possession back? Does that start again? I'm like, everybody's afraid to put the puck on net. I'm like, well, the goalies are too good. Well, don't shoot it so they can stop it. I put it to golf. I'm like, okay, as long as you can hit it again, you're going to be okay, right? If you hit it out of bounds, you can't hit it again. So basically, if you put it in the goalie's catcher, whistle, you can't play it again. Or you put it in his belly, whistle, you can't play it again. Yeah. But if you put it off his pad and you put it in play, you got to think like a pitcher when you're shooting. What's the goalie going to do with it, or where do you want to put it? Do you want to put a fastball? You want to put a changeup? You want to throw a surprise at you, knuckleball at him? You want to throw something at him? And that's kind of how my mind worked as far as trying to score.
Yeah, blocker side, mid-range, right? There you go.
Yeah, just over the pad.
Lots of rebounds.
Everybody was a butterfly. They're all butterfly goalies now, and then everybody went down, right? We just saw Patty on that clip there. As soon as I fake it, he goes down to the butterfly. Well, he can't move. It's hard for them. They move, a little bit better on their knees now, but it gets tougher and tougher to move on your knees.
It was a sweet goal. And here's another one of your 413 that you might remember. You guys are at home now. It's a penalty shot opportunity against Dominik Hasek and the Sabres. And you're going to make it count after getting hauled down on a breakaway. again, showing that blazing speed, but he was able to catch you from behind and haul you down. But that led to this, and here we go.
Yeah, and the Dominator, he doesn't give up much, but I was able to sneak it through there. And I don't know if you know the story with this one, but that was my first shift of the game. My son, JC, had just been born that night.
Oh.
Jacques Lemaire was coaching, right? And Lemaire, Jacques always had a rule. You had to practice to play, right? You had to practice. You had to make sure I got the morning skate. You sure you want to play? You rested. I'm like, yep. You never want to not play a game. So I said, yeah. And there, celebrating. Can't believe it happened. February 27, 1997.
Wow.
Going at Dominik Hasek. The breakaway, it's kind of comes full circle. I coached in San Jose. I coached with Bob Bugner. Boogie's the guy that hooked me there. He's the guy that took the penalty, so I thank him. Stephen Walkham was the referee. I thank him all the time, who's running the Referees Association now. So it kind of, to get that, I was no good the rest of the game, but I got that goal, and I was just ecstatic just because, it was a big day in our family. John Carter, our oldest son, was born. My wife, it was just one of those days. Everybody got excited about it. I got excited about it. And to score against Dominik Hasek that gives up nothing. You on the best of time, challenging him one-on-one just to sneak it through, and then how it was back then, I think it was a back-to-back maybe, or back-to-back, or we played him 2 nights later. And, skating. And back then, you never talked to anybody during warm up, right? Unless you were going to fight them. You're going to say, that's the only time you crossed and talked during the thing. Played Buffalo again, and Dominik wasn't playing. And I'm like, hey, I explained the story to him. And, I think he read about it. I go, any chance I can get a stick, he signed it to my son. Right. And he was very gracious, signed it to my son. It was just so perfect, just for the fact that, knowing all the players in the event to make it happen. Boogie hooking me, Walkham, Dominik Hasek, the Hall of Fame goalie, so it wasn't like it just, everything fell into place. And with my blazing speed, as you keep referring to, I didn't get a lot of breakaways. But it was just a special goal in my career that I'll always remember.
Well, I'm glad we were able to pull that for you. Paul Pasco, our video guy, he's got a tremendous library. He got that for us. So, did you know you're going to go 5-hole, or were you going to give whatever he gave you? Take whatever he gave you.
Yeah, you know what? You kind of wanted to. I knew I was either going to go 5-hole or top glove. I think right-handers, you always should go top glove. I mean, left-handers can always like drag it and kind of go back against the grain. I was never able to do that, but I could snap it top shelf on the glove side. Blocker side was always tough for me for whatever reason, but I could do short side and 5-hole a lot. So I just made that one little fake. You always got to sell something when you're going down. You can't, whether you can't put yourself in a deking position or a shooting position, you have to kind of make the goalie bite on something. And as soon as I knew he bit it, figuring I'm going top glove, that's make the decision to go, right here, I can do whatever I want with it. I could shoot it, as long as I pull it back and hold it, I could still deke on that, because where my hands were, I could still deke. And I just made that one move just to open him up enough, and you could see, I guaranteed he was a little pissed off, I guess, if you will. As soon as I have it, I can make that one move, and you got to just do it. You can't move it when he's backing up. He can't move his feet either. So he's kind of in that spot. He gets out high there. He's almost to the hash marks there. So really there's no chance for me otherwise to deke him or, put it 5-hole. And so I went with the 5-hole.
Wow. It was a goal scorer's goal, no doubt about that. So back in the day, Wayne Gretzky referred to the Devils as a Mickey Mouse organization. And did that sting at the time?
Well, it stung at the time. What really stung was the taking the 13-4 loss.
Right.
Right. I mean, we were on a Western road trip. I remember that's. I feel bad. Poor Billy McMillan got fired after that. It's never fun to have your coach fired, but we're on a Western swing, and it's like night after night. I remember you walk into Northlands Coliseum, and now the Oilers are practicing, and I mean, no one's got a helmet on. They're going 100 miles an hour. We're like watching this practice. We walk in and by the Zamboni entrance, and guys are like, holy shit. Like, they're dishing it all over the place. You got Messier going, you got Curry, you got, Glenn Anderson flying, Gretz going, Coffee, Clo, you got the whole thing. It's like bing, bang, boom, bing, bing. I'm like, oh my God, we're in trouble. And this is like in the morning. And so it's like, we knew we were kind of in trouble. The funny thing is, and I got to check it. I can't remember. I should look it up, but I think we were winning that game at one point. We may have scored the first four, or we may be up for a 4-2 or something early in the game. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, they said, Slats must have said, hey guys, wake up here. And they just took off. And I was like, oh my God, you end up, I think, fortunate only -4 in that game. So that's probably pretty good, I guess. Yeah. But
among the team
scored 13 goals. Yeah. But, and they played in it. And Wayne, having played with Wayne now and know him, he felt bad. He said it. I think he even said it at the time, but it was like, it was more of emotion because Ronnie Lowe came from Edmonton. They were great friends with Ronnie Lowe. And they kind of felt bad that they were scoring on Ronnie Lowe. You know what I mean? And Chico, trust me, Ronnie didn't take the full brunt of it. Chico had a couple himself as well. So, so I think he just felt bad that, and then we go the next night where we just get shellacked there. Billy's, I think he got fired that day. Marshall Johnson takes over when we go to Calgary, and that's not a walk in the park either.
No.
To go into Calgary at that time. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so things just, it was just a struggle at that time. And when things go bad, they just kind of snowball, and that's where it was. So everything needed a reset, and which they did. And I think, Max, give credit to Max that he was able to, turn the tide a little bit and get it straightened out a little bit for the organization, and then it kind of built up from there.
Yeah, a gradual build for sure. And then so you guys finally get it together and make the playoffs, and that was for the very first time. And I think maybe 90, 88, 89, 90, somewhere around that. Anyway, it came down
88.
88. Okay, and it came down to this game against Chicago, overtime. You're going to help keep the puck in at the line. Joe Sorella, your former Oshawa teammate, with the shot. And there you are, jumping on the rebound over here. That goal puts the Devils in the playoffs for the very first time. Tell us about the feeling.
Oh, it was an unbelievable feeling. We went on such a run there at the end of the year. We couldn't lose a game. And for both reasons. If we lost, we were totally mathematically out of it. So we had to win these games. I think we got away with one tie. Bobby Sauvé played the game against Buffalo, got a 2-2 tie. Shoney here coming out celebrating here. As you see, I think Dan will give him a big hug, steal one of his cufflinks after. There he goes. He's going to steal his cufflink now. So he's gone. So I've watched this video so many times. You just know the whole thing. But, we went on such a run, and this was the start of the, Lou Lamoriello era in New Jersey. So Lou came in, and and everybody knows the stories. We always did hotels. We did that. We didn't know any better as far as like what was going on. I remember we go to Chicago, everybody's like, oh, we're staying downtown, or we're staying at the Drake again. No, we weren't staying at a Drake. He had us at a different hotel where rest was their most important. And then he was like, okay, guys, we never heard of this before. At the time, he had limos for everybody that wanted to go early. He goes, the bus is this time. Anybody wants to go early, I'll get you a limo to the game, right? So we're like, wow, that's kind of cool. So you're kind of getting to go to the game. He just knew how to motivate us, and he took everything from the outside away and just let us concentrate. We were like, okay, this is exciting. We're going to play. And, you figure Chicago might let up or something, right? They didn't really need it, but they made a game of it. They came to play. It wasn't like they gave it to us, and we had a fight. And, I think I scored the game tying goal as well.
Yeah.
And then to tie it, and then to get to overtime, we got Berkey in net. Sean Burke, who had the great run with the Canadian Olympic team in that year in '88, he did great. Comes in now, he's on this run. We're riding him and Bobby Sauvé. Everybody, it's just a feel good team at this point. Everybody's getting along. Where we just have that. We knew we had that specialness to our team, and Shoney was so positive with us, and just gave us that air of arrogance, if you will, confidence, just said, hey, let's go. Let's get in their face here. Let's go. And we all kind of bought into it. And the plays that were made, everybody made great plays, and, keep it in. Joey makes a hell of a move, throw it on the net. What we talk about, kept the puck in play. Panger, I love Panger every time I see him at the rink. He'll bring it up, or he'll show this video or something. I made you famous type deal. I'm like, yeah, but anything, it couldn't have been more perfect that puck bounced straight out. It was almost like Panger kicked it to me, and I'm like, thank you very much, and fired right back in the net. It's in, and it's all over. And just the excitement for everybody. That was such a team effort that we had that year. And people forget, we were actually a pretty good team. So I'm playing with Patrick Sundstrom and Mark Johnson. Then you got Kirk Muller and Patty Verbeek playing on a line together. Our third and fourth line. I mean, we just had a bit of everything on that team. In the back end, we were, you see a young Greg Willana, you got Joey Sorella, Tommy Curvers, so we had some great defensemen as well. And then the goaltending. I mean, Berkey was a great goalie, and he gave us that confidence that we could play the way we needed to play to get in. So that was huge for the New Jersey Devils and the organization at that time. We had to legitimize ourselves somehow. And as we know, it's not easy to get in, and we missed the playoffs the next year, but it kind of gave us a building block that we knew that we had some ingredients here where we could start building to, that next level.
So you're on that, you're building, and this is a couple of years later now. You've got an interview you did between periods from a game against the Flyers. This is from November of 1990 with broadcasting legend Stan Fischler. Let's roll that.
John MacLean got goal number 14, and we're going to see exactly how it took place, starting with Brendan Shanahan. Tell me about it.
Brendan did a lot of work in there and to force the defense, and then the puck just dropped loose to me, and as I was skating across, I just backhanded it towards the net, and it beat him.
That was the catalyst, and we saw some terrific work by the Patty Conacher line with David Maley and Dougie Brown.
Yeah, they're playing real well. I mean, there's three hustling guys. Dave is playing pretty good defensively this year, which is good, and he's taking a good responsibility in it. And with Charlie and Dougie Brown on the wings there, they're two hustling guys, they're good skaters and that, and they get in there and work, and they create a lot of havoc, and that really gets the team fired up.
Okay, we'll see what happens in the third period. That was Johnny Mac with 14 goals and 12 assists. We'll have more right after this.
Right, and this is November, right? So that was a pretty good year. I think you're on your way to your third 40-plus goal season in a row. What do you think when you see that young guy?
Oh, nice hair.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, no, it's funny. You forget all about it. The names that come up during it, Shanny, playing on a line with Shanny. Like, I'm always looking at, you forget who you play with. And the older you get, sometimes I can't remember if I played with the guy or I coached the guy. So now I'm like, okay, well, yeah, no, I remember Shanny. Shanny was great. He was a rookie, it was awesome to, have different line mates like that and Hall of Fame players, which I admire. It's tremendous. So it was fun. Playing Philly, always it was going to be a battle and clutch and grab, whack and hack, the whole thing, couple fights here and there. You just knew all the time it was going to be a battle. So hand-to-hand combat was the name of the game back then, and just to get loose pucks and around the net, be fortunate to be around the net and ready for it when it comes. So good goal. And Stan loves to bring in the guys like Dougie Brown, who was a great player, great college player. And Dougie kind of broke the mold of that college player in my mind anyways. He came in, played the game hard, didn't play it to be, tough or have to fight. He just said, you know what, I'm going to hustle the whole time, play my game, and did it. And he had a tremendous career, Stanley Cups, Detroit. I mean, he just had a tremendous career. He was a great player. And, Patty Conacher, we call him Charlie. He just one of those throwback players that, everybody loved him. It just, Charlie, work. You couldn't, just wind him up and he's just going to go. You knew what you're getting every night, and he was ready to go. Great teammate. So it was fun. The game was fun. And Dave Maley, he was, he sneaky, tough guy in the league that could handle himself at any moment and with good skills. So it was just a fun group of guys as we're building to that next level. And I enjoy talking about it because, people forget that there was a start to this organization at times. They feel, and you do get spoiled because Jersey won 3 cups in that short of time. But there was a building block before that happened, and not take nothing away. They're tremendous that they won, but there was building blocks that some guys, get left out of. I'm fortunate I played in, a couple of the different eras there, and coached there, which was helpful. But you forget about those guys that helped build that organization at different times.
Well, you talk about the Hall of Fame, and I believe that maybe they'll come knocking on your door one of these days.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at
that's going to go. That's going to go with you think I'm a fast skater too. Sorry,
well, you are an Oshawa boy.
Trust me,
pretty hard to ignore.
Trust me, I'm a big stick. I'm a big Hall of Fame stickler, so I'm not a Hall of Famer.
Well, okay. Here's what I'm talking about. Okay, so 18 years as a player, 18 years as a coach. Stanley Cup as a player, Stanley Cup as a coach. That's a lot of time. There's a lot of time spent, in NHL ranks, helping teams, building teams as a player and a coach. You had 3 straight 40-plus goal seasons. Might have had a 4th, but you got injured the following year. A knee injury which kept you out of the entire season. How bad was it, and how did that affect the rest of your career?
Well, the timing was awful. Back then we played 11 exhibition games.
Jeez.
I'm coming out I had 3 40-goal years. I think that was either my 9th or 10th exhibition game.
Wow.
So, and it was the last one. And we just came back. We played a game in Louisville, Kentucky. We retired everything. It just I remember we played the Islanders, little skirmish, no fault of Brad Delgarno, grab him, awkwardly. He falls on top of me. He's a big man. My knee goes out underneath me. ACL, MCL, tried to put off surgery, put it off till November. Then finally I had to go in for surgery. Doctors did a tremendous job. Did it affect my career as far as skating? Yeah, maybe I wasn't as speedy as I was before, but it more so affected like your rhythm, right? How you're playing. Like I think I maybe got back to the 30 goal mark one or twice after that, but it just kind of your rhythm. My next shot for me was I'm thinking, okay, maybe you get 40. I think at 42, 45. Was the top of my thing. I'm like, oh, maybe I can squeeze 5 more goals out. Maybe I hit that magical 50 mark, right? But it wasn't meant to be. Good. I found a way, kind of changed my career a little bit as far as understanding. I always understood the game. So, a little more, started to play a little more in the penalty kill, power play, penalty kill, different roles. I'm a big believer in it's a good league to be in. Find a way to keep surviving where you're happy and just keep playing. So whatever your role is, I was always happy with it. Yeah, I would have liked to been on the power play a little bit more. At different times I was, at different times I wasn't, killing penalties, checking line at times. So whatever it was, it worked out. I have no complaints about it, but the timing wasn't great. There's never a good time to get injured, but it wasn't great as far as like the trajectory of where, my offensive game was at that point.
Well, you were able to come back the following season, and that was a good one for you guys. 94 playoffs. You had that great series against the Rangers, and of course Mark Messier guaranteeing the winnings in Game 6 and 7 and all that. But what was that season like in terms of building momentum for you guys?
Yeah, we did, it was good. I mean, we had Jacques Lemaire came in, and as I said, the building blocks were there. It started because Jacques came in, and with Jacques and Larry Robinson, when they came in, they gave us the belief that okay, there's something here. I mean, but Jacques won 10 Stanley Cups, Larry's won 8. Well, it's like very matter of fact to those guys. Give a little more legitimacy to the organization, to our team, to helping us understand what it takes to win, what we have to do as a group, what an individual may have to sacrifice to be part of the greater good type thing, and that's kind of where that was, I think, one of the assets of both Jacques and Larry were able to, and we were willing to receive the advice and want to do that. We need it. We were getting tired of it for ourselves as far as like, make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs, make a run, don't, we needed something like that. And I think they gave us that legitimacy as far as a group, and then molded us into the team to, start competing for that, the Stanley Cup and legitimately competing for the Stanley Cup. So, I think that was huge. And that was great series. We had great series all along, but the Ranger one was great. If you're in the Tri-City, area, the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, you have that series going on in that area. A lot of people there, so it was getting watched quite a bit. And, Ranger fans are very distinct. Jersey fans are very distinct. And so the battle was there, and it was tremendous for hockey and for the area. Unfortunately, we came up on the, short end of the stick, but, it was tremendous for hockey and really exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, and that build would continue next spring, 1995. And what a role this was. Devils break through, reaching the Cup final against Detroit. Game 2, it's 3-on-1. And you're going to squeeze one through your old pal Mike Vernon. Your fifth goal of the playoffs. Your fifth goal of the playoffs to go along with 13 assists. And, what was it like to score that big goal? And you guys won both games in Detroit, of course, and not intimidated at all by a pretty good team.
No, you know what? It was great because I was early, to get on the, get on the scoreboard. And, as I said, those assists were usually rebound ones. So the only way that that was going to get that pass was off the pads if it didn't go in. So, but Bernie, when you're going, you have to sell something. And you kind of knew that he would be trying to, I'm a big believer, all goalies cheat. So he probably worried about the guy. He didn't want to get beat far side there, but I think that was Slava. Fetisov was a defenseman there as well, I think. So, so Slava was there, and, Slava always, his rules were short side goalie, far side defenseman. So that was his rules all the time. So if we went in short side, he said it was the goalie's fault. If we went in far side, it was the defenseman's fault. So I knew Slava was going to take that away. So, but Vernie wasn't quite sure about that. So we got it in, but it was good to get it out of the way. And that Detroit team, yeah, they were a great team. We didn't overlap that year, right? We didn't play the West. The East didn't play the West that much, right? So they weren't sure about us. And I think they had a good team, but we were a little undervalued as far as the team that we had and how we played. And I don't think we kind of surprised them a little bit how business-like we were, how dialed in we were. And, they were thinking, oh, okay, well, once we'll get through, these first two, not a big deal, we'll get through it. And then game 3 and, game 4, we knew we had it. You just knew that there was not going to be a pushback from them. They would try, but we were just so dialed in as far as our 4 lines, 6 defensemen, goaltending, that we knew that it was ours that year. Of course, they went on. They're great teams. They made a couple tweaks here and there, but to win their own. But we just knew that year, the way that we were going through the playoffs, the guys, how they were playing. I mean, Pep Lemieux had a tremendous playoffs. He didn't have a tremendous year, but the playoff performer. I take Pep on my team anytime, anywhere. Just such a competitor and just loved to, compete and be part of the team. But we had such a good team that year that we were 4 strong lines that, we have Bobby Holik and Randy McKay and Mike Peluso playing on our 4th line. I mean, Bobby Holik, I'm like, he had a great year. First, very talented. Randy McKay, he's only playing on the 4th line because me, Pepe were ahead, and Stefan Richer were ahead of him. So you know what I mean? So we had some talent on that team. So and everybody contributed at different times. So it was a fun and well deserved win for the Devils.
Yeah, for sure. And you make it a 4-game sweep. Final seconds of game 4. That was a great call by Bob Cole. I listened to it again recently. Here we are now. We're a far cry from that Mickey Mouse franchise. And, I'm sure Gretzky got a chance to eat his words there. But, Larry Robinson and Jacques Lemaire, there you see them behind the bench. You talked about the effect that these Habs legends had on the team. Being there so many times. You said something like 18 cups between them, whatever it was. And what was it like now to lift that cup for the first time?
Well, it's heavier than it looks. You're exhausted. It's like, you're like, you do a double take with it. But, and you know what, Scotty, give credit to Scotty. Scotty was very, you pass it off kind of thing. I don't think we talked about it, but, Scotty went up, Bruce and I went up, and Scotty, gave it to me after he raised it over, and, which was awesome. And the cool thing about this, and we'll always have this, myself, Bruce Driver, and Kenny Danico, we were the 3 original Devils, if you will, that were on that team, which was very cool for me that I was able to, we were able to share it. We're, as I talked about earlier, we kind of represented that group, that part of the building blocks. We ended up staying. We had, guys leave, they get traded, they don't get re-signed. Building up to what we accomplished, we were the 3 that were able to, see it come to fruition, if you will. And that was very cool. We got a picture together, of course, with the 3 of us, and, Dano's still heavily involved with the Devils, tremendous for him. Bruce, I don't know if Bruce is still involved, but he was involved. So, that kind of, is a big thing. I think that we were the 3 that were able to see, see the end. We always saw the light, then we finally got to the end of the tunnel, if you will. We were the three that stayed in there. So that was very special. And, when you win it, you're happy for that moment. And then you think about everybody else, like what it means to everybody else, what, your wife, your kids, your mom, your dad, your, friends. It's like, everybody's like, wow, I didn't even think he'd get play in the NHL. Now you want a Stanley Cup. Wow. You know what I mean? So you get that. I'm like, so it's a culmination of your career, which no one can ever take away from you. Your name's on the cup. It'll be on there as long as I'm living, I think. And then if it comes off, it goes on the Hall of Fame in the wall, which is all awesome that no one can take that away. So, if it's around in 70 years, maybe my great grandkids can see it or whatever and say, oh, that's cool. But all these things are, nice. You reflect a little bit more now that you're kind of, detached from it, but it was a tremendous run. And I think we're at 40 years. I think it's 40 years this year
right.
Yeah. It's 40 years. Yeah. It's 40 years. So I don't know if the Devils are doing anything or not, but I think it's a 40-year.
30 years. 30 years.
30 years. Sorry. 30
years.
Sorry. Yeah. Bad math.
Your math is like mine. That's good. No,
Oshawa.
Yeah. So you guys, it was a 16-4 playoff run. I think that might be the most dominant playoff run, since they've gone to 4 rounds ever. And that was pretty impressive. Claude Lemieux, you talked about Pepe and what he was Conn Smythe Trophy winner, just Marty Bergera. It was just such a great team, and he obviously played a big role. And you were, a couple years later, you were part of a swap to San Jose. What prompted that move?
Well, it was, again, you wish, you're going, you wish had different opportunities at certain teams kind of thing. We made moves. I understand it. I mean, I asked for it. So not like I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, I kind of asked for it and, and I was, listen, I'm always honest whether right or wrong, indifferent, I was asked in the press about it and I'm like, yeah, I wasn't going to get an opportunity to play in the power play. We had guys come in. I'm like, you bring in Andrew Chuck, different guys. And I'm like, they're playing ahead of me. I mean, I had a pretty okay career in Jersey too. So I thought maybe I might get an opportunity, and trust me, I never asked for anything more than, more or less. I just asked for an opportunity. And, I didn't feel at that time that I was going to get that opportunity. I asked and it was said, likely you're going to stay in the same role as you are, which is, playing on the checking line, if you will, or the third line, whatever, which never bothered me at all. Kill penalties, perfect. But, I'm like, being an offensive guy at times, you're like, yeah, maybe if somebody's not going right, I'll even stand in front of the net on a power play. I don't care. I mean, just, but it didn't feel that it was going to come. So I said, you know what? It's not going to come. If that's, if that's where I'm going to be, then maybe I should move on. And, and that's basically what happened. And it was funny because Lou, as soon as it came out in the paper and we have a great relationship and phone call comes in, John, you're suspended. You're not playing tonight. I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm like,
you already knew.
So, and I kind of knew it was coming, but then the first guy, calls, John, where are you? And, and I'm like, well, he goes, you got to meet you at, I'm going to meet you at Turtlebrook. We used to practice in West Orange. You got to meet you at Turtlebrook. Always wants to do things face to face, which I totally respect. And to see, we had the conversation. It was a great conversation. He's like, there's no great person there's the person and then there's the player. He separates them both and he's tremendous. He's good. And so we had the conversation. I knew, and he's like, and he did it and that was it. And we talked and it was good. He didn't want to, some guys would go, hey, I traded you, you're gone. but Lou has to. He wants to see your face, wants to talk to you, make sure you know what it is, and that's what it is. And kind of, we did it. We moved forward, moved on, and that's kind of, you know, sign, finish. You know, it's funny because you know, the first time he goes, "Did I hear you retired?" He calls me. He goes, "Did you retire?" I'm like, "No, not yet." I go, so he goes, "Okay, sorry." You know, and so then, you know, I got a call for Dallas. I finished up in Dallas. And then he goes, Are you retired now? I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm retired, Lou." "Okay." He goes, "Give me a call in August. We'll see what we can do here." I said, "Great, thanks." And, you know, it was very matter of fact. And then, you know, next thing you know, working for the Devils, coaching of all things with Pat Burns. So it's a funny story because, he calls me in August. He goes, "Okay, show up at training camp." And, you know, he calls me and he goes, "Hey, so what do you want to do?" I go, "Well, I don't know. I don't know. Like, be around the game, whatever." I go, "Listen, I could do the John MacLean thing, shake hands and smile and this and that." And, you know, he goes, I go, "I don't know if I go, maybe I want to, you know, be involved in the game somehow." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "Come to training camp and we'll see." So I go to training camp. I went every day to training camp, took notes, everything. So about 15 days in training camp was forever back then. And I'm like, I'm taking notes, doing the whole thing, you know, filling out reports. He has reports. "Well, fill it out. Tell me what you think." I've never done it before. I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Just say what you feel about each guy and this and that." I said, "Okay, no problem." Comes to me, the end, you know, the young guys are getting sent down. He goes, gives you no preparation time. It's just like, he goes, you're taking these 12 guys out on the ice today. You're running it." I'm like, "Okay." I go, "And what am I doing? Like, what do you want?" Teach him stuff that you would want to know as a winger or as a forward stuff. I said, "Okay, no problem. Got it." You know, take him out for 35, 40 minutes, come off, you know, doesn't say a word to me. Come back the next day. Burnsy, you know, I'm talking to Burnsy. I go into the room. Burnsy and Bobby Carpenter are the coaches, and Jacques Caron, goalie coach, assistant coach. And Burnsy goes, "Hey, you want to coach?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He goes, there was, you know, he goes, I don't think this guy's coming. Like, he wanted another guy to come.
Yeah.
That, you know, and I'm like, he goes, "I don't think he's coming." I go, "Sure, I'll coach. Yeah, I'm living in Jersey, you know." So I go home. I go home that day. So I say, "Yeah, Burnsy, sure. If it works out, sure, I'll coach." So I go home that day, come back the next day. "Lou, John, I want to see you in my office." So I walk upstairs. I'm like, "Oh, Christ, now what?"
"Oh, what now?"
He goes, "I hear you want to be a coach." I go, "Burnsy asked me." I said, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "You sure you want to do it?" I go, "Yeah, sure." He goes, "Okay, I'll double your salary. Go coach." I'm like, "Okay." So that was it. And we win the cup that year. We win the cup.
Yeah, no kidding. Beautiful.
Like,
so that's what I was going to ask you. But like, what?
I'm like,
here's another chance to hoist the Stanley Cup. What was that like for you?
It was unbelievable. We win the cup. The team. Listen, every Stanley Cup team, you could talk. Any guy that played on the Stanley Cup team will tell you the same thing. The ingredients are always the same. And you need the support, you need the Hall of Famer up front, or, you know, the close Hall of Fame, the Hall of Famer on D, you need the goaltending, you need the support group around it. Whether it's New Jersey, Detroit, Florida, Tampa Bay, whatever it is, the same framework is there. The ingredients are all there. So it was tremendous. And Burnsy he came in and he had to put his mark on the team. And I'm sure Burnsy, you know him a little bit from his Toronto day. He's a tough man, but he's fair. He's probably the best, one of the top bench jockeys that I've seen, if you will, making decisions on the fly. Him and Ken Hitchcock, I think, are 1 and 2 that I played for Hitch in Dallas, but just watching their demeanor, Burnsy was a little more, Hitch is a little more annoying. Burnsy's a little more in your face kind of thing, but he knew how to get the guys going. So he just came in. He had a couple challenges early with some guys, and he wasn't afraid to, go directly at them. They weren't used to it a little bit. They were coming off, you had the leftover from 2000. They won this cup in 2000, and now there's a couple years in between. And it's like, we all go through it as players, and you never like it, but Burnsy had to go at a couple of the guys, but he knew what he was doing. He knew who to go after. He knew how to get the guys on the page. And then, and as always, you make a trade at the right time. You get guys to come in, whether it's a year before that. So we had some guys you had that were added to the group, Joe Neuendijk, Jamie Langenbrunner, we still, Scotty Stevens still on the back end,
right?
Winning, doing the whole thing. Nieder was still there, got Marty in the net, up front, you got Gomer, you got these guys that, Scott Gomez, and great players up front. So you knew you had the ingredients there, but Burnsy had to get it all under one roof. And I think that one of the key guys, and he had some injuries at the end, but Joe Neuendijk was such a pro for this team, that, he was the older guy that hung out with the young guys, with Jamie and Brian Giunta, both went on to be captains, that type of thing, kind of helped that out, helped Scotty. Scotty's the competitive guy that he is, and he just was able to play his game. He helped Scotty manage the room, and help guide the team from Burnsy. Burnsy wanted it to be their room. And so he knew that, knew he'd come up to me one day and he goes, and Burnsy was funny. He goes, Burnsy's got a hat on today. I go, yep. I go, I think you guys should just focus in here for this 30 minutes. Okay. Tell the guys to focus. Okay. So that hat doesn't come blowing off right now. It may have been, he may have not got a lot of sleep last night. Okay. So we want to make sure that we practice here. And sure enough, knew he'd go around. Yeah. Okay, boys, we got 30 minutes here. Let's focus in on this. Right. And they did. And then it was like, okay, we knew what was going on. Burnsy'd go off because he'd always leave the ice, and practice was over. Burnsy's gone. And so they're like, oh, okay. But you kind of knew what it was, because he never wore a hat. He'd just come out. But when he wore the hat, it was like, okay, we might want to just focus so we don't set him off here right now.
You got you get a chance to be a head coach for a while, and then, you coach at San Jose, and the other you coached the Islanders. You got a chance to coach your son, Kyle. Tell us about that opportunity and what that was like for you.
You know what? It was good. You know what? Tremendous group of guys with that organization. I don't think I'd do it again. And it's hard on both of us.
Right.
And it was hard. Kyle's very mature, works, does his job, but it was hard on both of us, to go through it. But we made it through. The guys were tremendous. You talk to the guys all the time. They joke. They're like, we don't even forget that you're even, does he talk to you? I'm like, nah, not that much. And we shouldn't. So it was a little more difficult. Right. But as far as a dad, I'm ecstatic that he's, he has to earn everything that he got. So I'm ecstatic that he saw, that he was able to play 80 out of 82 games, and did well. I mean, competed and learning process, tough league. You had to play in the league to get that experience. So now you get the experience. Now what do you do to keep playing there? You got to keep. Somebody's always pushing. You got to keep going. So it's just a grind all the time, but. From the aspect of him playing in the NHL, ecstatic.
Any chance that you get behind a bench of another team in the not too distant future?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not this year. Not this year. It doesn't look like it this year, and I'm okay with that. Cycles. Everything goes in cycles here. Coaching hires. Fires. There's going to be plenty of jobs open again next year. That's just the way it is. It's reality. Somebody gets mad and it must be the coach. And, it's not a steady profession by any stretch of the imagination, but, some guys do well, they get a good situation and other times there's a lot of change. So for this year, it's not looking like that. I'm going to, been in the game since I was 18 years old. And I'm 60 now. So I'm like, been a long time. So I think I can, take this year and see where it goes. And, I'll have my hand on it. I'll know I'll be following it for sure. And, preparing if the opportunity comes, but it's not something that, I'm going to chase right now. I think, taking a breath is not a bad thing sometimes. So I'm going to take a breath and then we'll see and maybe I'll enjoy, not being in it, doing other things. It's funny. It's a great gig, right? You have good life. I'm happy, but I missed a lot of things, right? How many live games have I seen? I've never, maybe watched maybe 10 times my boys play, junior hockey and college hockey, right? Because they're playing the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Clarkson, I probably saw my son play live 3 times, go to Clarkson University, and my oldest son, JC, go to Clarkson and watch them. Yeah, 3 times maybe. And the other Oshawa, Kyle played in Oshawa, and I'm like, okay, as a fan, I maybe went 5 times. I mean, it's familiar to me. I watch it on TV and that, but to get there, maybe a couple times watch him play as a pro on live, maybe twice. So, this year I can maybe, watch him play as a pro and, more, which would be nice, whether it's in New York or somewhere else, but it'll be fun to do. And I'm dying to get into a wives lounge and really sit down and have some cheese and crackers and maybe a glass of wine and watch the game. And at a building, I'm a terrible fan. So I'm like, you're working all the time. You're working in rinks all the time. So it's like, you never get that aspect of it. You come out, it's funny. It's like, you just it'll be a whole different thing for me to, remove myself from, it's hard being a fan if you're watching the game, because you don't watch it like a fan watches. You try not to be emotional when you watch it. I'm like watching, okay, well, my wife will go, what did he do wrong? I go, well, actually, he didn't do anything wrong. The other guy, that's where he should have been. The NHL is about, he should be there. He shouldn't be where he was, so it's, you break it down that way. So it's kind of funny. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes. And, either way, it's been great.
Watch your son play some hockey, play some golf with your wife.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Your other son, JC, and,
we get that.
Your daughter-in-law a little bit, right? So.
Yeah, no, they're always fun to have the girls in the family. It's always great for that. So, funny. They're like, Dad, you can't talk like you talk to us all the time. You know what I mean? I'm like, I got it. I'll be a little kinder and gentler.
Okay. One final question. We're partnered with a group called Believe Become BU, mentorship program for kids 10 to 17, inspired by the late Sean Gindy, led by Papa Jack Gindy. What's the message you would have for any kids who may be struggling to find their way today, John?
Well, you know what? For kids, it's so tough. Nowadays, kids, it's really, really difficult for different kids. But I think if you can, finding the belief in yourself is the most important thing. And looking for recognition, give yourself recognition before you look for it outside. It's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I would go from me. I'm like, trust me, no one ever thought I was going to play in the NHL. They're like, but you know what? I was just like, every day I like picking up the stick. I like fooling around with the stick, shoot it off the wall, shoot 100 tennis balls, whatever it was, play. I just enjoyed what I was doing. I didn't look beyond the next thing. I was like, okay, hey, get to play in the travel team this year. Great. Play in the travel team, do it, go play baseball, do something. But in a weird way, I had a belief in myself that I'm not trying to impress anybody but myself. And then having that belief, trying to just believe in myself as far as like recognize myself first, and then it'll come. And it'll come as much as you want too. You can have way more if you wanted recognition. If you want to go out and grab more recognition, once you believe in yourself, go for it. Sometimes you just, I'm good.
I love that. It starts with giving yourself the recognition. Beautiful. Well, listen, John, thank you for taking this time to join us. It's been a treat. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And when we come back, Jerome McGinley puts the Flames on his back and almost wins the Stanley Cup. But before we head off, Vic, let's roll that clip from John after winning the Stanley Cup. That short clip that's on there with Ron.
Birds right there. I don't know. They get the red jersey celebrating. How's it all feel?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I don't know what to do. It's just unbelievable. I don't want to miss this picture, Ron. I'm sorry.
Get in there.
I cut off Ron MacLean. How about that?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Ron. I'm not going to miss this picture. I don't blame you, buddy. This is
I got front and center. I had it picked out too. I got front and center right where the cup was lying down. I remembered. I'm like, I'm not missing this. I'm not getting blocked out. So
yeah, thanks,
Joe, thank you. It was it was fun. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on. It was great.
Oh, pleasure's ours. Thanks, John.
In 1992, the best locally owned restoration companies came together with one goal: to make disaster recovery better for Canadians. And to this day, DKI remains one of the only 100% Canadian-owned disaster restoration groups in the market. Fire, flood, or storm damage. When things go wrong, the right help makes all the difference. With the right tools and local expertise, we handle everything from emergency response to full-scale restoration, getting homes and businesses back on track the right way. Because a home is more than four walls, a business is more than a building, and recovery is about more than repairs. When you choose DKI, you're choosing a company that's put Canada first since 1992. Locally owned, nationally backed, Canadian through and through. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center. Saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Hearing loss doesn't have to mean missing out. At Hear Canada, we help you take charge with a complimentary hearing assessment because confidence starts with clarity. Discover hearing aids, accessories, and expert care at your local hearing center. Not sure where to start? Our Hearing Health Guide has the basics for you or a loved one. It worked for us. Book your free assessment today at hearcanada.com. Conditions may apply.
You guys didn't win the Cup in 2004, but you made the final against Tampa and really should have won it. You had a shot to win it in Game 6 thanks to you setting up the game winner, against Tampa in Game 5, and then helmetless, no less. And what a great pass that was! And then you almost single-handedly led the Flames to the Cup that year. And of course, then you weren't afraid to mix it up any time in your career. In the playoffs that year, you had to go with Darren Hatcher. You threw bone-crushing checks. You had the scrap with Vinny Lecavalier, and that was a legendary tilt. We're talking about the Stanley Cup finals here. You don't see a lot of scraps in the Stanley Cup finals anymore, but your tilt with Vinny and you just basically said, guys, hop on my back. We're going for a little ride here. I'm going to do whatever it takes to lead us to the promised land, include take care of Lecavalier. What was that? I'm pretty sure that you're the all-time leader in Gordie Howe hat tricks. Probably have more Gordie Howe hat tricks than Gordie Howe had. By Gordie Howe hat tricks, I'm talking about, of course, a goal, an assist, and a fight in the game. In addition to those bone-crunching hits he used to throw. What was that experience like, 2004? Despite the fact you came up just short, even though that Martin Gelinas goal was definitely in, as we saw in the replay. But as it turns out, you're runner-up in the Stanley Cup. And tell us about that run and the city of Calgary at that time and what was going on for you.
Yeah, it was an amazing run, and it was. I look back, and obviously, I wish that goal would have counted and given us a few minutes to go to win a Stanley Cup. But at the same time, I'm very thankful that I got to go through that experience with the team there in Calgary. It was, we were one goal away from winning, but looking at it, I got to see and I got to be part of a team that came together, that had so much fun together, that you hear about the winning teams. And I got to do it at different ages and, in Kamloops and stuff. But, watching the NHL and hearing about it and the camaraderie and getting to see it and getting to see different guys be heroes on different nights. And it was really hard not winning it, but it was awesome to go through it. And I think back to each series and the way, we weren't expected, we were underdogs, but all of our guys, if you go through it, late Steve Monador, he scored a huge goal against San Jose. What an awesome guy. And he was my roommate for a long time. And, he scored an overtime winner, and he was a D-man. He didn't score a ton of goals. And that was, I remember that one, everyone jumping around. It was an OT winner in San Jose, and we knocked those guys off. They were supposed to beat us. We beat, first of all, before that, we got to Vancouver. They were a huge rival for us. And we beat them in 7, and the series was back and forth. And it was right at the end of the game. We were up. I missed an empty netter. Connie gave me a pass, and I missed the empty netter. They come down. 5 seconds later, there's barely any time left in the game, and they score. They're shorthanded. They go down and score a goal to tie it. It's like all the emotions. But fortunately, we win. Jelly scores in overtime. He had scored 3. That would have been 4. Deciding if that one counted in the finals, 4 deciding. He scored every series clinching goal that we had, so 3, but that would have been 4, and I think he would have been the only player, I would imagine, in history that have done that, probably in any sport. That's like the deciding basket or something in basketball, So it was really, really special that all the different guys that step up, how close we were as a team, how the guys embraced their roles, Daryl coaching. And he does a really good job of making all the players feel important and are important. And some play way more than other guys, but even the guys that play 8 minutes, they buy into the role of it. And it doesn't mean they don't want to play more, but they know they're important. And he does a good job of making guys fit in the roles, but also feel important. And I think as a team, when you're that close, we were a really, really close team. Sean Donovan, I remember, Connie, Jelly, Kipper had an amazing playoffs, and, Regier was Rhett Warner. There's so many neat guys that you become friends with and you go through those battles with, but we were one goal, and at least I got to see and feel what it was like to be, on that type of team, a winning team that could win it all. And like I say, we were one goal from it. So got to do all the experiences, except we didn't get to raise it. And at the end of the day, would have sure loved that. But it was still, as hard as it was not winning, I would go through it again, because there were so many amazing, amazing experiences and ups and downs and so much fun.
Discover the secret to timeless vitality at Renew Medical Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Our specialists unravel the science of aging, tailoring plans to defy its effects. Experience cutting-edge regenerative therapies such as stem cells and exosomes, addressing aging at its core.
It's a wonderful spot, and I highly recommend it for whatever you may need, whether you just want to feel better, you want to look better, have basically a quality of life, just to ramp it up a little bit as we age.
Liberate yourself from aging-related concerns, where accountability, technology, and passion for regenerative medicine converge. Begin your path to peak health and wellness with us. Schedule your appointment today at renewpv.com and elevate your quality of life.
Parents, what's the biggest fear for kids 10 to 14? A future they think they can't handle. At Believe, Become, Be You, we know confidence in the future is a habit we can build. Our course doesn't just prepare kids for the future, it seeds them with skills they will use now. For a limited time, the I Believe in Me Foundation is offering the first 1,000 kids and their parents 1 year free access. This priceless opportunity will save you over $2,000. This isn't just a course. It's a journey in developing life-enhancing skills that will grow with your child, fostering gritty minds, creative futures, and better bonds. Get signed up now at BelieveBecomeBeYou.com. That's BelieveBecomeBeYou.com.
And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian sports. A reminder that the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, check out the show on YouTube. All of our past shows are on there. Clips, shorts, like and subscribe. Plenty to see, and it's absolutely free. Our socials, at Joe Swiss Tilley on Instagram and Threads. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show on Facebook. Thanks once again to John MacLean for being on the show. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in the early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today, and let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. I'm Joe Tilley, and this fall I want you to join me for the adventure of a lifetime in Peru. We're talking about a 9-day guided journey through some of the most awe-inspiring sights on Earth, starting at just $19.99. We'll explore Lima, Peru's lively capital. You'll experience rich history, beautiful architecture, and world-class cuisine. You'll also wander the vibrant streets of Cusco, where Inca heritage blends seamlessly with colonial charm, and visit the stunning Sacred Valley, known for its dramatic landscapes, ancient Inca ruins, and charming traditional villages. And the big moment? We'll ride the scenic Inca train to spend the night in Machu Picchu village, waking up early to witness a magical morning light over the ancient citadel, a once-in-a-lifetime experience you'll never forget. Craving more? Extend your trip with a stay at a luxury Amazon lodge, or visit Lake Titicaca and meet the locals on the floating islands. This all-inclusive package covers international and domestic flights, expert guided tours, entrance fees, and stays at hand-picked hotels. And here's the kicker. Book now to receive a free upgrade to first-class boutique-style hotels and a direct flight from Toronto on selected dates. Don't miss it. Let's discover the magic of Peru together.
Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit sleepyhollowcountryclub.com.